Yo, 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 what's up? What's going on? What's good? This is the Boxing Source checking in here for the November 23rd, 2021 episode of the Boxing Source radio show. Yeah, yeah, this is, kind of like delayed in a sense, but that is because this host here had just returned from Vegas to the Washington, D.C. area after being out there in Vegas for coverage of the Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter WBO welterweight title fight. Of course, if you've followed our social media avenues through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you would see that we had updates of the fights that did take place up until the main event, and had live coverage through YouTube of the the pre-fight presser, the weigh-ins, and the post-fight presser. But we just wanted to get in a little bit as far as like talking about what happened in the fight between Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, and just wanted to see how people thought about it. Um, I mean, I just felt like it was a great, 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 great fight between Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter. Of course, Terence Crawford was coming in there undefeated, former, undisputed super lightweight champion, defended the WBO welterweight championship there for like, I think it was the fourth time since defeating Jeff Horn for that WBO belt. Shawn Porter, of course, is a two-time welterweight champion. First, won the IBF there from Devin Alexander. Lost to Tikel Brook, but then later on down the line, defeated Danny Garcia for the WBC welterweight title. Ended up losing in the unification fight against Errol Spence in 2019, and had one fight in 2020 there against Sebastian Formella before this particular fight took place. And of course, Terence Crawford in 2020 did face Kell Brook. So this was one fight that many fight fans wanted to see. You had Terence Crawford, of course, being considered as one of the best pound for pound fighters in the sport. But didn't necessarily have a fight against one of those top rated welterweights. And so Shawn Porter was there to be that guy, to be the top rated welterweight fighter for Terence Crawford to face. And it was, a few questions out there for, some fans that felt like, is this the fight where we see where Terence Crawford is in the welterweight division and where he stands in the welterweight division? So definitely was looking forward to this. Like I said, I was there at the Mandalay Bay Michelob Ultra Arena. Was a packed house, sold out. Um, like the anticipation for that particular fight was, definitely growing. And that, once that fight just started to get up and going, man, it was just definitely loud in that Michelob Ultra Arena. Of course, you had the introductions out there for Shawn Porter and then Terence Crawford, um, and then first round started, and Shawn Porter went out there and just went out blazing. Tried to catch Terence Crawford with a big punch, big hook. But Terence Crawford was ready for it. And you just had two fighters there that tried to get good positioning in there in order to land their shots. I felt like Shawn Porter was coming forward at him, with a good little pace, timing Terence Crawford pretty well in that first round. While Terence Crawford was out there trying to gauge what Shawn Porter was going to do with Shawn Porter's movements. With his foot movement in and out, getting in and out of the pocket, lunging in, lunging out, throwing a left jab, getting inside, tying up Terence Crawford and things like that. But then had Terence Crawford make the adjustment to go southpaw, made the decision to go southpaw. And, when he was going southpaw, he pretty much, had the thing where he was using his reach advantage, used the right jab, pretty early, was able to be successful with that right jab pretty early. And, had Shawn Porter pretty much almost in like counter-punching mode or pretty hesitant to try to attack. But the thing about it is, Shawn Porter, of course, being in fights against the likes of, Andre Berto, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, the list goes on and on, Kell Brook, that he, made adjustments to try to go around Terence Crawford's jab and try to throw a jab of his own sometimes. And he was able to do that. But, at the same token, you saw Terence Crawford trying to measure up Shawn Porter there with counter shots, trying to throw the left hand, throw counters, and get to the body of Shawn Porter a lot, and also try to come over the top with the right hook. So big ups to those listening live right now. Before this goes on to the thing for iTunes. So big ups for everybody that's joining in there. And we could see about trying to get y'all in here if y'all want to join in to talk about things a little bit. But I wanted to get back into it. You had like the instance where like I said, around that third, fourth round, good little scrap there between those guys. And I see one person that particularly joined in live. I got you, bro. I'll have to get with you on that. And you saw like both of those guys were, going in there scrapping, throwing big shots, big punches after big punches. And the crowd that was there live, really enjoyed that because, they expected this to be a great little fight, great little scrap between these two fighters. And, for those couple of rounds, you did kind of get it. But over the next few rounds, it was pretty much more of Terence Crawford trying to measure up Shawn Porter to catch Shawn Porter with counters, and wasn't necessarily very active there as far as like trying to get Shawn Porter with the counters, which kind of like allowed Shawn Porter to try to get in and get out, throw some jabs, and then also come inside to try to work in the inside of Terence Crawford. But it wasn't to the point where Terence Crawford was getting himself like tied up too much, or that it kind of messed up his offense a little bit. And people kind of like seeing like Shawn Porter be like a rough and tough style fighter, but Terence Crawford at times was ready for it. So it wasn't like, Shawn Porter could really push around Terence Crawford. There were times when Terence Crawford was able to, get the better of Shawn Porter when it came to positioning up close in the clinch. So I thought that was one thing that was a key there in the midway part of the fight, was that Terence Crawford would not allow Shawn Porter to like rough him up, even though there was a couple of times when you had a clash of heads. One clash of heads, pretty much caused a cut on Shawn Porter, and another clash of heads, created a welt on Terence Crawford. And so, with that happening, I was thinking they're live. Maybe that would kind of be like a turning point in the fight to see who would be able to deal with, those, those issues. But it didn't really look like that much for either fighter. I still like seeing that Terence Crawford was still trying to, measure up Shawn Porter in this particular instance, trying to, give him different looks while being at a southpaw stance. While you did see Shawn Porter start to, lunge in with the left jab, which, kind of like it's an issue against a guy that has, long reach like Terence Crawford does. And, with that being said, you go into, that 10th round where you did see at first that Shawn Porter made that mistake, lunging in with the left jab, then ducking down, while Terence Crawford just, kind of like expected Shawn Porter to be at that spot. And that's where he threw that left hand to catch Shawn Porter, and his momentum sent him down to the canvas. So you had the first knockdown in that particular fight. There scored for Terence Crawford on Shawn Porter, and then Shawn Porter got up, and then you saw Terence Crawford, try to increase the offense a little bit. You seen that he was able to catch Shawn Porter with a right hook there that kind of like messed up his equilibrium, and a couple of punches that didn't necessarily land, but it was still enough to um, mess up the momentum there of Shawn Porter, put him down to the canvas once again. And, even though he, was able to get up from that particular knockdown, the second knockdown, he had his trainer, Kenny Porter, step up to the ropes and pretty much call the fight there in the 10th round to give the victory to Terence Crawford as he was able to defend the WBO welterweight championship and stay unbeaten there. So now you have Terence Crawford standing there with a very impressive record. That should be around 38-0, with that being the 29th knockout or stoppage victory of his professional career. And you had Shawn Porter fall to 31 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. And it was one other time that he was unsuccessful in winning another welterweight championship. Like I said, he won the IBF title. He's won the WBC title, but he's fell short winning the WBA title when he fought Keith Thurman, and now with the WBO title in fighting Terence Crawford. And with that being said, after the fight took place, you saw the post-fight press conference. Shawn Porter basically said, that was it. Win, lose, or draw. This was going to be the last fight of his career because he fought everybody that there is to fight there in the welterweight division, and that he didn't want to kind of like continue his career as basically like a so-called gatekeeper there at 147. So he, hung up the gloves and announced his retirement after that particular fight. And, like I said, that it's been a great career there for Shawn Porter. Like I said, 2-time welterweight champion. Fought just about everybody that there is to fight in the welterweight division. So you can't, say that, that there's nothing left for him to do. And kind of like to go into more about what he was saying after the fight took place. He brought up his, thing where he was with Andre Ward, months ago, and someone like approached Andre Ward and said, come on, Andre, you got one more left in you, excuse me, and Andre Ward pretty much responded like, okay, so that's it, man. Like, why can't I have one more left in me? He didn't want to, kind of like leave it to chance where he gets in there and he's way past it. And in this case with Shawn Porter, he didn't want to have that occasion where, he be in the ring longer than he's supposed to, and that he's past his prime or past what he could be able to do in the sport of boxing, and didn't want to just say that he's just out there just to be out there. Like he set himself up nicely. Of course, y'all know about him and his, thing with his announcing on Fox or on, Showtime or whatever it is. And of course, with his podcast. So, he's pretty much like set for life. Basically, when it comes to, his life after being in the ring. So he's able to kind of like end his career on a good note. He was like I said, he was valiant in his fight here against Terence Crawford, but it was just Terence Crawford just had a little bit more tools on the shed to get himself through this particular fight. I mean, through 10 rounds, it was a very close fight. Some people felt like Shawn Porter probably had the advantage there through 9 rounds before I got into the 10th. But most of the scorecards, pretty much the scorecards, I had Terence Crawford winning in all three scorecards, up to that point. So through 9 rounds, you had 87, 84 score, and then two 86, 85 scores. You know, um, I know that people kind of like said that the stoppage was odd. Kenny Porter, his dad and his trainer pretty much like discussed it. Um, that he knew that there were things that they kind of like taught Shawn Porter to do, in this particular occasion, and Kenny Porter just felt like he wasn't doing it. And so, with that being said, he kind of like felt like he was way behind, with those two knockdowns, and he just didn't think that he would be able to come back or whatever it is, and not want to risk any more damage there for Shawn Porter. So he ended up stopping the fight. Um, you know, and like Shawn Porter said after the fight, he was not mad at his dad for stopping the fight. He was just more mad at himself for having himself open to those counters. Well, they're countered by Terence Crawford first to cause that first knockdown, and then get himself in a line of fire where he ended up being caught with the right hand that kind of like forced that second knockdown to happen. You know what I mean? So like I said, man, I mean, it was a great fight. I think that Terence Crawford, was able to get do what he needed to do as far as like make the proper adjustments to kind of like get to Shawn Porter there in that 10th round to kind of like at that time separate himself from Shawn Porter there, and then be able to just overcome that and be able to get the stoppage victory, and like I said, become 38-0. Um, thing about it is that on that second knockdown, like he kind of like he did take a shot, but he still was able to stay up a little bit. A couple of more punches from Terence Crawford, kind of like messed up an equilibrium there for Shawn Porter, and he went down to the canvas, once again. Um, he slammed his gloves to the canvas, and he was able to get up. The referee there, Celestino Ruiz, did ask if Shawn Porter was okay to continue, and he was like, yeah, I'm ready to continue, yeah. But his dad, Kenny Porter, stepped up to the ropes and just said, you know what, that's it, we're done, that's it. Um, and so that meant that the fight would not be able to continue, and you have Terence Crawford there being able to get that victory. And so, I mean, there you go. You have Terence Crawford now with the win over, a top five opponent in the welterweight division. And, it kind of like was in a, very good fashion, you know. Um, after the fight, you kind of like, heard a lot of stuff that was going on and going around. I was out there, of course, on the floor at the time, after the fight, caught up with, the likes of, Rolando Romero, that was there in attendance, Devin Haney, of course, who, has his upcoming fight against Jojo Diaz, caught up with him, caught up with his dad and trainer there, Bill Haney. Also, with David Hay, caught him before he was leaving there, getting his thoughts of the fight. But you had, a lot of folks out there. Floyd Mayweather Sr. was out there. Of course, Jeff Mayweather was also there. Doing interviews and things like that. And yes, you did have Errol Spence Jr. that was in attendance watching this particular fight. But kind of like going into what was happening after the fight with the post-fight presser. If you didn't like see it, I mean, I have it I have it available on the YouTube channel there. So if you follow the Boxing Source on YouTube, you'll be able to see it there. First off, you had the thing with, Shawn Porter announcing his retirement. Kenny Porter also talking about, how much he respects Terence Crawford and, of course, his trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, and that, both of those guys, kind of like came up the amateur ranks pretty much around the same time and, kind of like had a relationship from that point forward. And, leading into, this particular fight, you seen that, both of those guys didn't really want to, fight each other, but it just got to the point where there was no, other way around it. And so you were able to have this particular fight. It was a very good fight, as I was saying before, and Terence Crawford, came out victorious. And so with Terence Crawford, Crawford, um, like I said, did very good. I thought his when he switched to southpaw, I thought his right jab was a definite advantage there for him. That I don't think really Shawn Porter had much of an answer for that right jab. So when there were times when Crawford was throwing that right jab, you know Porter just really didn't necessarily have an answer for it. And even after like the clash of heads, where you did see like a cut on Shawn Porter, I kind of like felt like Terence Crawford could have continued to, throw that right jab and keep throwing it and keep throwing it and keep throwing it. But he was more content on, staying on his back foot, waiting to see what Shawn Porter was going to do and kind of like react from that. Like I said, the left hand counters were key there Terence Crawford going to the body a little bit and then going upstairs, and also the right hook that he was trying to land over the left jab of Shawn Porter. But in that post fight press conference, it just seemed really weird in a sense to some people because he was sitting there after Shawn and Kenny Porter left that he kind of like was talking about what his future plans were going to be, and he announced it right in front or pretty much right beside Bob Arum. They said like, "Yo, I'm pretty much going to be doing my own thing. I'm going to be a free agent of sorts. So from this point forward, you won't necessarily see Terence Crawford there. I guess dealing with Top Rank directly. I did. Some people kind of like knew the situation there with Terence Crawford and the contract with Top Rank, and that it was kind of like was going to end there after this fight. Kind of like that's what we had going on there. So want to get see if I could get in a guest here to kind of like join us here. So let me see if we got him in live. Brother Troy is here to join on the live conversation. What's going on?
Hey, bless up, man. I saw you you're doing some interviews out there, and I heard you when you did the post fight. Post fight, man. You sound very professional, brother. You sound very professional.
Well, thanks on that. I just wanted to, get in the question about, the fight and, his keys as far as like getting that victory because, I just seen, him trying to gauge what Shawn Porter was going to do there, with this movement and everything like that. But when he switched southpaw and started throwing that right jab and having that reach, that was the, key to the fight. I think that, you know, him switching to southpaw really kind of, gave Shawn Porter a lot of problems. Even though Shawn Porter was kind of like landing some shots, the thing about it was that he
You,
didn't have an
you,
answer to what Terence Crawford was doing. So
you know what's so
I
funny?
think that, yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but the way that Sean fights, you would figure that he would give southpaws hell because southpaws are really a timing thing, and a lot of southpaws have issues with wide punches. But it didn't work out that way, did it?
No, not necessarily because I felt like Crawford kind of like was, you know, staying on that back foot as far as like his left foot having that back or whatever it was, and just kind of like gauging the distance there with Shawn Porter. And the thing with Shawn Porter is not like he tries to kind of like get in with a lot of the punches. Yeah, he can step forward with the jab, but if you step forward with the jab, you got to be leery or weary of that left hand that may be coming back. And for a few of those rounds, he wasn't really like get himself ready for that response by Terence Crawford. And I don't think I think it was because of the distance. Terence Crawford being able to control the distance wide enough so that he would be able to get in that shot before Porter could get in and smother him. And I think, with Crawford's ability not to allow Porter to smother him that much, that kind of like got him the key to landing a good amount of those counters and then leading into the one that, caused that first knockdown in the 10th round.
Okay, well, I tell you what, brother. I do believe that you owe me a beet burger. I don't want no damn beet burger, but I tell you what, I can't even come. I can't even come to DC right now because I'm on bed rest, right? But
Oh,
but you
man.
have yeah, but you have a jerk at night in DC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one in Baltimore. So basically, it's just a simple call. I'll call it on my end up here, and all you got to do is pay because I was gonna spend like 20. So you want to spend 20? Yeah, 20 cool, right? Is 20 cool?
Uh huh.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. But man, I'll give you a rain check on that for now because I really didn't want no damn beat burger. I was only playing with you. I was only playing with you. But yeah, man, we'll keep it us. I'll just keep
Oh,
that in my
man.
back pocket for
Oh,
another
man.
time, man. But yeah, but man,
Oh,
all in
ain't no
all, it was a
problem,
damn
man.
good
There ain't no
fight.
problem.
Yeah, it was a damn good fight, man. Yeah, it was a good fight, and
Yeah, it was.
the, the only issue I had was the ending. To be very honest with you, because
Hmm.
Sean's eyes were still clear, and I don't think his father at the end trusted his manhood enough. And I don't like the reason he gave either. As a father, I don't like the reason he gave. It's because of what you saw in training. So you're his trainer. Why didn't you fix what you saw in training? See?
Yeah. And that kind
And
of
then
like
it,
goes into what I was talking about when I had Kenny there. I had like something where he was talking about the different things that they were doing in camp, you know and one of the things of course that was brought up was that you know um Shawn was working with, the likes of Gervonta Tank Davis is one of the southpaws that he brought into camp. But if it was something to where, it got to the point where, maybe Shawn was having issues with that, then what did you kind of like do, you know, that kind of like had those issues? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, but we got like something here in like the live conversation. You know, we recently had Shawn Porter do his podcast pretty much like a few moments ago. And that, I guess that, he kind of like had a little bit of a clash with his father as far as like, what was going on with the training regimen. In that, Porter said that it was the first camp where he told his dad no, reference to what was happening out there. So I mean, I kind of like think that maybe there was something where he kind of like didn't necessarily get thing on there too, but um kind of like did I wish I was able to like get in to what Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter said like immediately after the fight. They did like have something where they kind of like talked on the podcast there as when the live chat was going on that he said like
Hmm.
Crawford did join in as well. So um I kind of like think that people all do kind of like respect what Shawn Porter has done over the course of his professional career, and like I've said, often I feel like he's kind of like the Shane Mosley in the welterweight division in the sense that he was able to fight everybody that there is to fight in the welterweight division. Back in the days with Shane Mosley, I mean, he, ended up fighting, of course, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Antonio Margarito, Miguel Cotto, all of those guys. And like with him, it was like you couldn't leave any stone unturned when it came to Shane Mosley in the welterweight division. Um, and then here with Shawn Porter, it kind of like listed the names that he fought. With from the Devin Alexanders to the Kell Brooks to the Andre Bertos to the
Hmm.
Adrian Broners to Keith Thurmans to Errol Spence to Danny Garcia to Terence Crawford. Like everybody that there was to fight basically in the welterweight division in this era. Shawn Porter stepped in the ring against him.
Okay, I got a question for you. Based on
Mm-hmm.
that look you saw on Errol's face when they had him on the big screen, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That didn't, yeah, that didn't inspire you to believe he was going to fight Crawford next, right? So where does Crawford go after here then?
He fights Josh Taylor next. The thing about it is that
Why?
w-
Why? You
because
second, oh, yeah.
because if it's not Taylor, it's not going to be Keith Thurman. It's going to be too soon for that. So that was the thing on that, and the thing with Errol Spence, I'll get into that a little bit more. I wanted to add in another guest on here, man. Um, but somebody that kind of like dropped a little gem here that I didn't necessarily know about before I left that comment on on the podcast that happened earlier.
What you
Man,
leave? What
he
comment you
didn't.
leave? Can you hear me? I'm on.
Man,
A, I'm on a. This is my
yeah,
first time on a laptop. Can you hear me? Okay.
Is that Shelton?
yeah,
No.
Okay.
nah.
This lazy lefty. I just changed my name this time because I'm on the laptop
Okay.
first time. Yeah. What
It
comment did
says
you
chick,
leave?
says chicken
Like
talk.
I did get on Carson that give that request that he would have Porter on Chicken Talk. So I didn't know he
Uh,
was already on there.
yeah. He came on today, like 10 minutes before they started their podcast.
Okay, that's good, man. That's good. Because I know that we've been kind of like hounding Carson for a while about that. But that's
Yeah.
good that he was able to join in for a little bit, man. Because I guess I was on a plane back from Las Vegas when that happened. So, kind of like missed out on all that. Yeah, I gotta I guess recheck what went down on the podcast, because I know that when I was able to get in, I saw like Barack Best was on it and stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, man, you pretty much had him kind of like going over everything that happened in the fight and whatnot. But for me, I just felt like it was just, I guess, Porter just said, you know what, let me just give it one more shot, because there isn't anybody else for me to fight. This is the guy for me to fight. You know?
Yep. Yep. That's what he's saying. He was
Yeah.
saying, as far as what his father said, he said this was the first time he told his father no in his whole career, where in training camp where his father wanted him to do something, and he was like, no, I don't want to do that. So that's probably what
Mm.
Kenny was talking about.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I guess it was something that I guess Kenny was suggesting, and that his son Shawn was like, nah, I wasn't necessarily down with that. But for me, I kind of like feel like there might have been like something in camp that maybe didn't work all too well, because I know that they said like they were preparing for dealing with the southpaw stance, and at the it wasn't like the pre-fight presser, but there was like the conference call that they had with Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford, where Terence Crawford didn't wasn't able to get in on that day, so it was later. But Shawn Porter did kind of like mention that he had something, had like a plan, for when Terence Crawford turned southpaw, and it looked like I guess what after what he said, that he really didn't kind of like go into or fully into what he was supposed to do when Crawford turned southpaw. So maybe his dad kind of like seen that and said, after a few rounds that he didn't necessarily see what he wanted to see out of his son in that instance. So I kind of like felt that that was interesting there, that by the time it got to the 10th round, and that Crawford scored those knockdowns, that his dad came up there and said, you know what, we're gonna put a wrap to this.
Yeah, he took up a lot for his father too in that on his podcast today. He
Yeah.
took up a lot for his father, which that's between him and his father, and they're gonna have to deal with that the rest of their rest of their lives or whatever. So I'm good with it. I guess I would have liked to see it finish and go on, but if that's the way they felt and they're good with it, I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, like Kenny was saying. I mean, he didn't want to, kind of like see an instance or a situation where his son would be seriously hurt. So,
Yeah,
after
and
that second
what was kind of
knockdown,
touching while he was talking about it,
yeah,
his daughter, because he did a live podcast today. He didn't do a recorded podcast.
yeah, right,
While
yeah,
he was talking about it, me and my father had, we've known each other. While he was talking about his relationship with his father, stuff like that, his daughter walked in. So it kind of put it in it kind of really hit home when I seen that, like he's going through the same thing that his father went through at one time. So with his family, his father wants to see him live another day, the same way he want to see his daughter live another day. So
right, yeah. So, that's what we basically, got out of I guess, what he was talking about in this podcast, and what I got when he was there at the post fight presser, and we kind of like see when he kind of like announced this retirement. You seen the for me, it was kind of like the brotherhood of sorts when it came to those in the sport of boxing. You heard from Jeff Mayweather, him commenting on Shawn Porter and what he's done over the course of his professional career, and the relationship that they've had. Of course, with Shawn Porter being in Vegas for some time, and of course being affiliated there with Mayweather camp as well. So. I kind of like did see that a lot of people were hurt in a sense, but kind of like understood it. Being that that was all he could do there in the welterweight division. He didn't want to like kind of like see himself being in the ring with the likes of maybe Jerome Boots Ennis or somebody like that, or Rashidi Ellis or Virgil Ortiz, or any of these other guys that are coming up here in the welterweight division. So he just said, you know what, let me just go for the biggest fish that's out there so far that I haven't been able to fight yet. And if I'm able to win, great. If I'm not, then I mean it is what it is. But like Shawn was saying, win, lose, or draw. That was going to be it. So either he was going to kind of like finish his career as a WBO welterweight champion, or he kind of like fell short. One of the other things that I kind of like brought up that kind of like stuck with me after he announced his retirement was after the pre-fight press conference that happened on Wednesday. I did talk about him fighting all of the guys that were out there in the welterweight division and things like that. And one of the other questions was like, how does he want to be remembered in the sport of boxing? And I kind of like posted that up on the YouTube channel, and that he didn't want to be like remembered as a Dan Marino of boxing, that somebody that was very good but couldn't win the big one. And you know, that kind of like stuck with me because yeah, he was able to, of course, win against Devin Alexander and have his win over Danny Garcia and things like that. But when it came to like fighting the Keith Thurman or fighting the Errol Spence, and then here against Terence Crawford, it ended up being losses. And while the things with Spence and Thurman were close losses, here, it just ended up being a stoppage loss. So I wonder like how folks will kind of like remember him as far as like what he was able to do in his professional career.
I wouldn't say Dan Marino, who went to the Super Bowl one time, never win again. Probably more like a Jim Kelly, who went four times, but just couldn't win the biggest one. Or maybe I don't know, Eli Manning, who won two, but is not considered the greatest of his generation, but still was able to get two in there. Or Trent Dilfer. I don't know. I wouldn't say a Dan Marino.
Right. I mean, and Dan Marino, kind of like was somebody that like would he's almost like somebody that would beat everybody but the title holders. You know what I'm saying? Where Shawn Porter, was able to beat a title holder. He beat former champion in a sense in Danny Garcia. So
Beat a current champion in Ugas.
yeah, be the current champion in Yordenis Ugas. So, that kind of like just tells you, where he's at as far as like his standing there in the welterweight division and his professional career. So you got to be able to, kind of like take that into account when it comes to what he was able to do, there at the welterweight division, right there. So, kind of like do, see that. Um, and going back to what Troy was saying in reference to Terence Crawford, like what's next for him? I mean, like I was saying, I mean, when I was there, it was just a weird way that he kind of like went at what he was going to do. Um, I said, for a few months or so that we had to see what was going to be next here for Terence Crawford because his contract was supposed to kind of like be up around like around this time, either this time or sometime last month. But since they were able to kind of like make this fight and make a fight happen under top rank with Shawn Porter, then this is like his last go round, and he just said, you know what, when it was asked for, either by Sean Zattel or I think someone earlier than that, because Sean Zattel like asked this question after I did. Terence Crawford basically said, you know what, I mean, if Airman Top Rank couldn't get me the Spence fight, while I'm with him, then what's the point of him, trying to get it while I'm not with him. So I'm gonna just, try to, try my luck as a free agent. So that's basically what it's going to be. And I kind of like think that's more towards him having the advisement of representatives from NTK Global, if I'm not mistaken. And with that being said, that's why, I kind of like answered Troy's question as to what's next for Terence Crawford. I see it as being against, against the undisputed champion, now currently at junior lightweight, Josh Taylor, after he faces Jack Catterall. So that's what I think is next for Terence Crawford.
Did you hear him on the Porter podcast today?
Nah, I missed that segment.
He went off. He went off on Top Rank.
Well,
hold up, can you hear this? Hold up.
Yeah.
Can you hear this?
You feel like Terence did Bob wrong? Hey, Terence, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Bob held you back.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
You want me to let it play? It's 2 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's 2 minutes and 6
seconds.
Go
ahead.
All right.
Between me and you?
That's Ant Askham.
Nobody else listened? I feel like you missed out about $75 million, bro. I feel like my man held you back. I don't know how much you made, but it's time to go. Go get this money, Terence. And don't fight forever, bro. But go get this money.
For sure, man. I feel like, there was a lot of opportunities left on the table. Not only with fighters, but also with pay-per-view. Like, for instance, me and Shawn Porter fought on the app. Right. There were so many people that was telling me they don't know how to get the app on the TV. They don't know how to do it, and the average elderly or person that doesn't know tech, they're not gonna know how to get the app on the TV. So what they do, they don't buy it. So I feel like that was a setup at his own right then and there.
Hey, how do you feel that time Bob said the amount of money he lost on you and built a house in Beverly Hills? How do you feel that? Hey, speak with your heart. Right?
I just sit there and laugh, because I know, I'm one of the most, how would I want to say it? My ratings is the highest at Top Rank. When I fight, people come at every arena. Me and Tyson Fury, I would say now. But if it ain't Terence Crawford, Tyson Fury, you don't see the arenas packed like that. People fighting in, the little rooms, not the big rooms and stuff like that. So, I just laugh when you said things like that.
All right, there you go.
All right. Yeah, I'll break that down, man, because in the first part, in reference to what he was saying, especially with this particular fight in general. Now, didn't we talk about this over the last couple of weeks, Lefty? Didn't we talk about this when it came to getting people to watch this particular fight, and they would have to struggle to go on the app? And and then not only that, we had that thing co-signed by, of course, our guy Matt from NVO and my guy Keith Idek. That was it. That kind of like retweeted the report from Kevin Iole in reference to the amount of pay-per-view buys that are reported right now. And he kind of like, and Keith Idek said, like, look, how are you going to limit the amount of people to watch this particular fight only because you want to have it on the app? What's the difference between having this thing on ESPN Plus pay-per-view or just ESPN pay-per-view? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't they have the third and the second fights for Wilder and Fury on ESPN pay-per-view while it was joint with Fox? I think so. So why is it that you want to have one of the biggest fights of the year on an app? That don't make any sense to me.
Being greedy. Because when it's on the app, ESPN gets all the money. They don't have to split it with the satellite and cable providers. So 190,000 pay-per-view values on the app makes them more money than 250,000 or 225,000 overall, not on the app. They could have did it both ways, but they still captured more every dollar. You know what I'm saying? They would have to be like in the $400,000-$500,000 range to make it more 400-500 pay-per-view.
1,000 pay-per-view buys,
yeah, to make it more profitable than the 190. So yeah, it was basically being greedy. But my thing is, and like Terence said, it was a setup. But basically, because UFC, that's how they do theirs. But UFC fans have been doing this for 2 years, so they all know how to buy the UFC pay-per-view. This is the first time it's ever been done for boxing. So boxing fans, a lot of them didn't know. Like when DAZN first started, I wrote an article for my friend's website teaching people how to use DAZN, because a lot of boxing fans did not know how to use DAZN. They did not know about, just basically ordering a download app, order, because boxing fans, they do kind of skew older. How to transfer from your TV, from your phone to your TV. I had an article all written and broken down, explain to people how to do that. So yeah, it's a learning curve. So let's say they do another pay-per-view. I bet you, I guarantee you this: if they end up doing Loma versus Kambosos 2 on pay-per-view, they're gonna get the word out there. They're gonna get the word out there how to order it on ESPN Plus. So it's gonna be a whole lot different.
Yep, most definitely. And I kind of like put it in a different type of sense there, that it's crazy, because why would you, and it's like Terence was saying in a sense, why would you have these other fighters in these avenues or these things where you could see them on ESPN? You could, see them on ESPN pay-per-view or something like that. But you put someone like, me on like ESPN Plus pay-per-view. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't they put his main man, so to speak, Shakur Stevenson, on ESPN Plus? Or was that on ESPN? Because...
Are you talking about against Herring?
Right.
That was ESPN. Right after the football game.
At least they were able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that was one thing that kind of like was a definite thing there. So let me see if I could.
On top of that, the ESPN Plus subscriptions that they got on top of that, because some people that didn't order the fight, like me, not didn't order the fight. Some people that didn't have ESPN Plus that had to order the fight, like me, I had to get it to ESPN Plus.
Oh yeah, man! It was just a bad situation to me. I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, but that's how UFC does there. So it captures new subscribers to ESPN Plus. That's really, and plus the pay-per-view revenue. So it's just like, yeah, it's a money grabbing scheme.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. Let me see if I could add in another person. Yo, what up?
How y'all gonna get on this thing at like 12 o'clock at night?
Because I just got in town at about 10:30.
Been pushing a button.
Okay, that's what's up. Your boy, I think I don't know if it's right, but I feel like I got COVID symptoms, so I'm just getting off on the tail end of that, man. I went into work last week, and I don't go into work often and start feeling sick, man. So you might win today, Troy. If you talk shit today, you might win today. Go easy on me, Troy.
I might win. I told you I called 7th or 8th round, but it went 2 rounds longer, right? It stopped him in the 10th round. Was it the 10th round he stopped him in?
Yeah, it's 10th round.
Okay, yeah. So Should have seen it coming, baby. Should have seen it coming. All due respect to Shawn, though, it was a very good fight, but I saw it coming.
Yeah, he made some pretty good adjustments in terms of using his distance. Like, in my opinion, it looked like he wanted to go sort of bang with him. He realized he had to switch that up because that wasn't working. And then, start using his distance and his range. And he started catching him on the end of them punches. It wasn't much he could do.
Nah, it was. He got tired and started to get caught.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
I got a question for you though. Did you see your voice? Do you see your boy's face on the big screen? You see him? He didn't look like he wanted to fight Crawford at all, did he? He was trying to find the exit and somebody's neck to go kiss.
I don't know about the kissing neck part, but no, I think he Crawford definitely, him getting this win makes it arguable on who is number one, but I don't feel that his body of work still is enough to overtake I'm forgetting Errol Spence.
Hey, 1A and 1B, no matter who you want to put at A or who you want to put at B.
I don't think it's 1A, 1B. I think if he beat
it is. It's 1A, 1B.
If he beats somebody like Keith Thurman, then
you gonna say Keith Thurman got beat by old Pacquiao. He's been off for 2 years.
No. I would say if Terence Crawford beat Keith Thurman, then his body of work at welterweight would be better to me in terms of the magnitude of welterweight than Errol Spence. Until then, he just beat somebody that Errol Spence already beat. Yeah, he knocked him out. I do commend him for that.
Twice.
He knocked him out twice?
That's the second guy he beat that Errol beat.
Ooh. Errol already beat him.
You talking about Brook and Porter.
So what I'm hearing is that
hold on, what was that?
He gets sloppy seconds after somebody is hurt. He gets sloppy seconds after somebody's hurt or has been.
That's what I said. If he beat Thurman, then you're gonna come up with another excuse.
No. Ain't no sloppy seconds because he made him retire also. I don't think Spence made him retire.
Yes, he did. And he broke his other orbital bone.
No, we talking about Porter. We didn't know, and obviously Brook didn't retire if he fought.
Brook got a fight signed with Khan. They fight next year, so he ain't nowhere near retired.
Thank you very much. As I was stating, he made Porter retire. But if you listen to the interview when they asked who's the better fighter, he said that Crawford was a tougher fighter. That's what Porter said out his own mouth.
You want to know what else he also said, though, Troy? He also said that Errol Spence.
He said I'm retired.
Yes, he did. He said Errol Spence hit him harder. He hurt him. He said Errol Spence hurt him more.
He didn't hurt enough for his father to throw it down.
Look, all I know, man, I'm tired of talking about who's the better. I'm ready to see them boys throw down. I can't wait to see them throw down.
We can agree on that. But the thing is, what I'm saying,
that's never going to happen.
Yes,
you saw the look on Spencer's face.
Man, y'all still go by that. Y'all still go by that. Y'all got to stop going by that type of stuff, man. This game is about money. The game is about money. The money is right now, and Crawford is in a position where he's able to. Where that fight is able to be made without any outside influences.
It was no outside influence before. It's never going to happen.
Yes, it was an outside influence with ESPN and Bob Arum. It's Aaron, but Crawford said himself, he couldn't even deliver. He said, "You can't deliver me the Spence fight."
And if Bob Arum and Don King could work together,
okay, well, why couldn't Bob Arum and Bob Arum work together to deliver him the Pacquiao fight?
Why didn't Wilder and old boy fight? It's never going to happen.
Oh, why didn't Wilder and AJ fight? Because of the money. The money wasn't right.
$100 million wasn't right. Come on, man.
Bro, y'all gotta stop listening to Eddie Hearn. This man lies like the wind. Well, I mean, Arum could even make Pacquiao and Crawford. Crawford said out his own mouth. Crawford said out his own mouth, he couldn't deliver me the fight.
It's 3 years now.
He couldn't do it. I mean, but how many years was it for how many years was it for Pacquiao?
It's 3 years, and the PBC
how many was it? I mean, this is an issue with this is a decades-long issue with Bob Arum. It's not y'all got to stop putting this on other people, man. It's the same pattern time after time with this man. It's the same problem.
He saw that he stopped Porter.
Yeah. Y'all said the same thing. Y'all said the same thing about Danny Garcia after Matisse stopped Lamont Peterson. Man, y'all got to stop making up these things in your head. It's about money. It's all money.
Here's the issue. One, he was just there in attendance for the fight. There was not going to be any instance where he would be able to even come close to the ring to even say that there would be an inkling of a fight happening, because how would that happen under a top ranked card, especially after we just now know that Terence Crawford is not affiliated with Top Rank anymore. Now we have the open opportunity to where the money could be discussed, where it could be possible for that fight to take place. Now, Terence Crawford said out of his own mouth that if the fight would make sense from a money perspective, then the fight will get made. Up until this point, they pretty much said that the money was not there around them to make that particular fight. And coming out of Bob Arum wasn't able to pretty much produce those fights for Terence Crawford. And because he wasn't able to produce those fights for Terence Crawford, that's why Terence Crawford is leaving. And as Lefty had discussed earlier, you had Terence Crawford on the Porterweight podcast just about pretty much around an hour ago discussing why he left Top Rank, because they were able to deliver the fights for him. So now here we are at this particular point in 2021 going into 2022, where you're going to see Terence Crawford seeing what is out there for him as far as options are concerned. Now, in reference to Errol Spence, we don't necessarily know if Errol Spence is at 100% quite yet.
He's not.
In instances, he's not. Now, with that being said, when he had Errol Spence coming off his car accident, and they were suggesting that Terence Crawford would fight him, Crawford wasn't really going to go for that because he didn't want to go after Errol Spence immediately after that car accident. So now we have this whole thing with the eye. So now it's let's see what Errol Spence does here next after he's cleared. If he's cleared to go, then you're going to see him in one fight. And then after that, you will see if a fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford happens next. Because I've said it a long time ago, and I've repeated it. If it doesn't happen in 2022, then it's not going to happen. Why? Because Errol Spence is very limited in his time staying at 147 pounds. They want to try to have this fight at 147 pounds. If
both
not,
of them could move to 154, because I think Crawford needs to move to 154 as well. He's very, very big, and he was holding back a lot in that fight. He was saving his energy for the later rounds. Crawford walks around at close to 182, so they're both big dudes, man. He can move to 154. That's fine. There's no excuse for them not to fight. It just will not happen.
Okay, we'll see.
There is no
you like to make bets. I'll put $100 on that right now.
Oh my God, it will not happen.
Okay, I'll put $100 on that right now. You want to make a bet? We could put it before 2022, before the end of next year.
Before the end of next year.
Barring no injuries or losses.
Come back to me in 90 days. Come back to me in 90 days when we're having the same discussion. And come back to me in 90 days when we're having the same discussion, all right?
What you mean in 90 days when we having a discussion? I'm ready to put the money up now.
No. Come back to me in 90 days when we're having the same discussion.
Okay, I already got a 500. Look. Let me make something clear to you. I already got a $500 bet that I made earlier this year that the fight was going to happen in 2022.
Come back to me in 90 days. And I'll see if you're still that confident when the fight is.
No, I'm already confident. I've been making this bet since the beginning of this year. I'm very confident.
It will not happen.
Okay, so we'll see about what happens in 90 days. Of course, I did talk with Josh Taylor about him potentially fighting Terence Crawford. So he's kind of like looking forward to that.
But that fight, that's a new thing. The top rank media trying to push is that's a big fight. Man, Josh Taylor can even sell tickets in his own country. That's why his fight got canceled. He wasn't injured. They wasn't selling the tickets.
Too many options. He has too many options at his own weight class. T.O. gonna be there soon. Tank Tank will never fight.
Tank is a lightweight. Why do y'all keep trying to move?
Tank is not a lightweight.
Tank is a lightweight.
Tank ain't no lightweight.
Tank has fought one.
Tank is not a lightweight. Listen to me. Tank is not a lightweight. He walks around at 165.
I don't care what he walks around at. What does he weigh in at?
He struggles to make 135.
What does he weigh in at? They said he's going to struggle to make 130.
Hold on a moment. How does he struggle to make 135?
Listen to me. I can't tell you. He's telling me. Okay, listen. Just like yourself, right? Boxing Sauce, right? Just like yourself, I'm a what? I'm a whatever y'all call it, content creator, and I talk to people. I give my word that I can't say their names and stuff. He's much more comfortable at 140. For some reason, they want him to fight at 135, but he makes 140 much more easier. He could fight Josh Taylor, but what did Lion Ellaby say?
He's not. Of course, he's more comfortable at 140. Canelo is more comfortable at cruiserweight, but you don't fight where you're comfortable.
And what did Floyd say? And what did Floyd say? We're only fighting inside people. These fights will never happen.
No. Josh Taylor, no. He's not. Josh Taylor, no. That fight never happened, and it should never happen. And it should never happen.
Here's my thing, Troy. When I had the conversation with Leonard Ellaby after the fight, right?
The liar.
He ain't a liar. He's telling you the truth, and you call him a liar. He's telling you what you do. He's saying what you don't want to hear, but he's telling you the truth.
He says
it's
that.
Like this.
Oh my. Okay, Boxer. So go ahead.
Okay. What he's saying is that fights like that really can't take place because you really don't see Josh Taylor making the type of money that Tank Davis is making. He's not that type of a draw in the United States over in the UK. So
and the last guy
when I gave
the last guy that Tank fought was a draw. Barrio?
No, but Tank didn't have to make.
Here's the issue with that. Here's the issue with that, right?
Okay, here we go.
Barrios doesn't have the status that Josh Taylor has. Okay,
there it is.
So with that being said, if you're going to try to make a fight between Tank Davis and Josh Taylor, that's going to have to be a higher guarantee, a higher purse overall, and with that. And because of that, wherever you host a fight, they're going to have to make sure that the gate matches.
There it is.
And at this particular point, they don't feel like it's going to match. Like it's not like Leonard Ellaby and Bob
explanation.
Explanation. Both sides agree. Both sides agree with that.
Tank don't sell like they think he sell. That's what. And either those and Josh and him
Josh Taylor,
together.
nobody knows Josh Taylor. Nobody
right?
cares about Josh Taylor but boxing
Okay.
nerds. He can't even sell in his own
Okay.
country. They don't even show his
Okay.
own fights in his own country. They had to put Derek Chisora on his undercard. They had to put Derek Chisora on his undercard to sell tickets.
Okay.
Tell him to get his game
Tank
on.
shows
I'm
a lot.
tired of y'all trying to slide. I'm tired of y'all trying to slide these boring, nobody, no name foreigners into our place, knowing good and well that if it was the other way around, they would not give no black fighters no chance. Because they did.
I don't want to hear the black fighters.
They think anybody could just come in here and just try to fight our fighters, but they never let our fighters make no money.
Never. I don't hear about the black fighter talk.
Let them get one. Let them get one. They got a little something on their name. They keep them away from all black fighters. So yeah, make him go earn his. Get his out the mud like Tank got his out the mud, like Floyd got his out the mud.
Somebody get this brother.
Get it out the mud. Get it out the mud.
Somebody get this brother some cheese and wine, please.
Get it out the mud and you can come talk.
Troy, I have a question for you.
They always got to work. They always got to work half as hard as we do. Make them work as hard as we do.
Which would be a bigger fight? Which would be a bigger fight? A fight between Tank Davis and Josh Taylor, or a fight between Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia?
At this point, I really don't know, to be honest with you. Because what's his name? Garcia don't fight. Garcia don't fight. I don't know.
From a marketing perspective,
I don't know boxing sauce, to be very honest with you. That boy does not fight. So I don't know. He does commercials, but he don't fight.
Well, I'm here to tell you that commercially and financially, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia is a bigger fight than Tank Davis versus Josh Taylor.
What's crazy to me, they got Josh Taylor talking about fighting lightweights. Number one. Number two, talking about fighting welterweights. When you got Regis right there, you got a hometown decision against Regis. Ain't nobody talking about a rematch, which really should be happening. That's what I'm saying. Once they get one over on us, we never get back. Ever. They know they should be having a rematch with Regis. That was a hometown decision. And ain't nobody talking about a rematch with Regis. They talking about him fighting damn lightweight. Come on, man. That's a joke. He's a joke.
Wouldn't that be on Progress's people to push that? Who's his people? Who's Progressive people?
I mean, you not his people, and you pushing him for lightweight.
People?
You not his people. You pushing him for lightweight. See, this is how they play. Now his people got to play. They in the same weight class. They had a close fight.
Please.
We should have got the rematch. You not people, but you pushing for him to fight lightweights.
Here's the other thing, right?
God.
We're talking about someone at 140 pounds in Josh Taylor, where you don't even have to talk about a Regis Prograis or even a Jose Ramirez who we beat. You got guys like Gary Antoine Russell. You got guys like Sabrio Matias. You got, guys like Robert Easter Jr.
Black.
You got, those guys that are there in the 140-pound division. So after he gets through this whole thing with Jack Catterall, then how come, why doesn't he, face one of those guys? But the issue is that if he stays at 140, and he is a big 140 himself, as you've seen, then what are they going to end up doing? Most likely having him facing Jose Zepeda?
I've never seen Josh Taylor fight.
Yeah, they're gonna have him face Jose Zepeda. It's gonna be something. You're not gonna let a smaller, no-name black guy get up there and face Josh Taylor. That's not how boxing works. I've been watching this long enough to know. Once they get that top position, they shutting us out.
Yeah, black fighters have it so rough in boxing.
We don't have it rough. We don't have it rough. It's just that they not. Whenever you have a non-black fighter that's a higher caliber than the dangerous black fighter, they never get that fight. That's
what dangerous black fighters are you talking about?
They never get that fight. But whenever you have a black fighter that's the top, and they got a white boy that's dangerous, or a non-black fighter that's dangerous, that's like you talking about Josh Taylor fighting a lightweight, man. You sound that's crazy. And then when I talk about Regis,
just talking about Josh Taylor
lightweight. He's a lightweight.
We were just talking about Josh Taylor fighting a welterweight too.
When
We
you
were
got
just talking about him
you got your
fighting a
hometown
welterweight.
boy, the Russells. You got
We
Robert
were
Easter
just talking
Jr.
about
You got
Russell's
Seville. Man, so many
126
people, so
pounds.
much
Why is he in
wrestling,
the
but y'all don't say their
conversation?
name. Y'all don't say their
Russell's
name.
Talking about Gary
126
Antoine Russell.
pounds. Why is
I
he in the
know what y'all
conversation?
on, man.
We're
Y'all don't
talking
even
about
say
Gary
their name.
Antoine Russell. That's what we're talking about, Troy.
Who is that? That's his brother, right? How much he weigh?
Yes. Yes, he's
140.
at 140.
Let him fight him. You know, what's his record? Let him fight him. Fine.
He's
Let him
unbeaten.
fight him.
But
Yeah, another poor, struggling victim of a black fighter. Let him fight him to
Y'all
satisfy
be
the
so
victim.
it just be crapping.
What that
Y'all just be
bullshit?
so pushing these guys that's nobody.
Pushing what,
That
guys?
nobody's care about.
Okay, listen.
Push them so much that y'all want them to fight lightweights.
Why
That's
don't you?
crazy.
Okay, why don't you tell me the top black fighters right now that can't get fights?
The top black fighters that can't get fights in the division where the white
Any friggin' division in all of boxing.
In a non-black. Okay, this is
any friggin' division in all of boxing.
Hold on.
Sick of hearing that talk.
This is how it goes. This is the pattern. This is how it goes. If you have a top black fighter who makes a lot of money, and you have a low risk, a high reward, low risk non-black fighter, they want that fighter to fight the top black fighter. Now, switch the situation around. High risk, low reward, black fighter doesn't make a lot of money, but you have your Triple G, who you can get a lot of fame and money off of. If you beat them, they don't want them to fight them. That's why you don't hear no Triple G and Andrade. Or no, you know what I'm saying? They gonna get Triple G Munguia first before Andrade would never get him. He would get Munguia first if he beats Murata. The man that took a pay cut ran over to Japan to fight Murata.
You don't hear any Charlo Andrade either. They're in the same weight class. And they're both undefeated champions. And guess what?
And the thing
both
about
of them are black.
Charlo is the only one out of Triple G, Canelo, and Charlo. Charlo is the only one who has sent the Andrade an offer to fight. I don't understand. Y'all keep complaining about that. Andrade said himself he's turned that down. He's the only one that's tried to make a fight with him, but you stay on this. Charlo.
What was his reasoning for turning it down? What was his reasoning for turning it down?
He said, because I can make that. He said, I'm not going to sign with them for one fight when I can make that money fighting the killers of the world. That's his decision. Wait. Look, I agree with that. That's
wait. The PBC wanted him to sign with them to make the fight?
Showtime, the same way they offered Canelo.
Espinoza
offered
Showtime, not PBC.
Espinoza offered a one-fight deal for Andrade to fight Jermall Charlo, and he declined for the reason of him getting around those same guarantees for fighting the Luke Keelers or the the Marcy Seleckis, that are out there, So if he could get around that same guarantee fighting those guys, then what's the point of him signing, to fight?
Right.
Which is cool. I'm cool with that because he got to take care of his family's future. My point is this. That's my point is this. My point is this. They're the only one who have actually tried to make a fight with Andrade, but y'all still complain about them not fighting. The deal didn't work out. They went their separate ways, but at least they tried. You can't even say Triple G tried. You can't say Canelo tried. You can't say Munguia tried. These guys are giving up mandatory slots. These guys are giving up mandatory slots.
What about the Jacobs fight with Charlo? How come that never happened? That's another two top black fighters.
Jacobs fight with Charlo. Jacobs, when were they supposed to fight? Jacobs he fought Triple G, Andrade. Triple G, Canelo, which of course he's not going to turn that fight down. And then he moved up a weight class.
No, but he went right up in the man's face and said, "Oh, I've been waiting for you," and whatever.
Yeah, come on.
And why didn't that fight ever happen?
And who did Jacobs fight after that?
So two people that were bigger than Charlo in name and status, and accomplishment.
And that's why they didn't fight. Why would he take a small? Why would he? Come on, man. You know how the game goes.
He still could have took it after he took the
how the game goes, man.
The two losses.
Took it after what?
You know how the game goes.
Took it after he lost. He still could have took it after he lost.
Nah, he got that bread. Okay. He got that bread. He got with Simmons, and that was it.
maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me, but I don't want to hear no more about black fighters that are victims. There's no top black fighter that's suffering anywhere in boxing right now. You
No,
want to point it out to me?
nobody's suffering because they're making good money.
You said they were, man.
No, I didn't say suffer. No, I didn't. I said the pattern that
did.
they follows. The pattern that follows. That's why you don't hear anybody. That's why Teofimo was able to tell Haney that he's not. That's why Teofimo, I mean, Lomachenko was able to get a fake title, to avoid his mandatory.
Get your vagina monologue together, please.
That's why Teofimo was able to get a fake title and claim he's undisputed. That's why Ryan Garcia was able to just blow off the mandatory. That's why Jojo Diaz was able to just blow off the mandatory. That's why Jamie Munguia is able to just blow off the mandatory against Andrade and against Carlo. You got guys just blowing off mandatory title fights, and y'all just there's nothing to it.
How do you fix that though?
How do you fix over and over and over again? That's why I say honestly, these niggas need to stop fighting these niggas and fight each other. If it was up to me, I wouldn't let none of these. It'd be nigga against nigga to me.
How do you fix that though?
You know, I wouldn't give these motherfuckers no chance.
How do you make them fight though? If they're your mandatory and they don't want to fight you, how do you make them fight?
I wish we could all get together on one code and just fight each other. That'll leave a lot of motherfuckers starving.
How do you make them fight you? These are your mandatories. How did you just walk away from mandatory? How do you enforce the mandatory?
No, you can't make a mandatory fight you. But this is my point. People, I've never seen that until currently, and people are just okay with it, calling guys undisputed, even though they dropped the belt, which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
this is the vagina monologue stuff I talk about.
I'm just telling you, you seem like you just refuse to acknowledge what's actually happening.
Have you ever heard
a guy just fight for a mandatory strike and say, no, I'm not going to fight for the title?
I'm just telling you that. I'm just telling you.
And then guys get the mandatory slot and they make up a whole new belt out of thin air.
And then guys get the mandatory spot, and then the president comes along and says, no, you are not mandatory anymore. Again, as in White's situation.
Oh, Dillian White, he's never been a mandatory.
Yes, the man told him he was mandatory. He did. Suleiman came out his own mouth. Suleiman, because you don't listen. Suleiman came out his own mouth and said he's the mandatory for Fury. And then a few weeks ago,
no.
Yes, he did say it. No. Yes, he did.
No,
yes, he did.
What did he say? He said the winner of the interim champion after 30 days will have to negotiate with White, with Fury. And
White, he said he's the mandatory, period.
Yeah, White filed that lawsuit, which got him screwed up where he at now because they can't do anything. Period. Honestly, I hope White bankrupts the WBC. I would love for him to win that lawsuit and bankrupt him.
Do you know, you ever heard of a fighter by the name of Marvin Hagler?
No.
I'm pretty sure you did. Allow me to finish my statement. 50 friggin' fights, 4 years deep in his career. He had to get Ted Kennedy and somebody else involved so he could get his championship fight, and he still got it. I don't want to hear about this guy suing them now because Marvin got the U.S. government involved.
Okay, that's what the Ali Act is. That's the actual bill, the U.S. government.
Damn. So it's not the fact that he's suing them. No. They just don't want to give this boy the fight because he has a chance of beating this dude.
Because he's what?
He has a chance of beating Fury. They don't want to give him the fight.
Man, look, I don't know if he has a chance. I don't know if he has a chance. That looks like a big UK fight to me. I don't know. That looks like a big UK fight to me. I hope they fight. Matter of fact, but first I hope White bankrupts the WBC.
You can't bankrupt the WBC.
Yeah, my man bankrupted him. What's his name?
Who?
Rogacini, whatever his name was. He bankrupted him when they tried to play him.
Who?
His name Rogacini or something like that. He bankrupted.
I never heard that. That sound like a salad of some sort.
No, look it up. He was supposed to fight Roy Jones. He bankrupted him. They had to settle with him.
I've never heard of him ever.
Okay, well, check it out.
I don't even know who he is.
He bankrupted the WBC.
Okay, and what?
No, that's one thing. I guess that's one thing that we'll all have to look up at some point, man. But
Not me. I'm not interested.
Okay.
And what year
Well,
was
then
this?
you're interested. Well, then maybe you're interested in this Saturday's fights coming up, man. You got, of course, Teofimo Lopez going up
Not
against
at all.
George Kambosos, and Brandon Figueroa against Stephen Fulton in that unification at 122 pounds. You know,
I am so finished with T.O. and his daddy, and it's been over a year. Over a friggin' year. And that boy is so talented, and over a friggin' I ain't interested, man.
2004 was the year.
okay. I mean, there you go, man. There you go. And yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying in reference to Teofimo Lopez. He's had this whole thing with the year and whatnot. So, and he's had the issues with, to me, he's had the issues with weight and all that.
That dude is
And
killing himself. He's killing himself to make that weight.
yep, yep. And my thing is that you kind of like had the what was it? The thing with him when he was at the Fury Wilder, and you kind of like seen him, with this physique and everything like that. Um, and he pretty much just seemed like he was cut up then, you know. So I don't see where, in any instance, where he could lose any more weight if he had to lose more weight. So I'm kind of like going to be interested to see what happens on Friday when that weigh-in comes in, because uh, if he's able to make weight, fine. But if he's not, well, say goodbye to those titles, buddy, because they're all going to be vacant if he's there overweight and can't get himself down. But for me, I think that George Kambosos is going to be there to be very competitive in that particular fight. He's not really phased about Teofimo Lopez, even though with Lopez, I feel like he has, power in both hands. And that I think with Kambosos is that, like, even when I seen Kambosos in his fight that he had, the last fight he had, he really wasn't, all that impressive to me, So in this sense, man, I do favor Teofimo Lopez, but I think Kambosos is gonna try to, make it a fight there. Even though I felt like against Lee Selby, he really didn't do enough there in that particular fight, but he was able to get the decision, become the IBF mandatory, and here we are, finally after over a year for these guys to fight, man. Like, it's been over 12 months. It's crazy, ain't it?
There's very few fighters that excite me today in boxing. I can say Crawford is one, White, and Shields. Nobody else really piques my interest, man. T.O., oh my God, that young man was a B12 shot, and all of a sudden he won $10 million because you beat Loman friggin' Chenko? The hell is wrong with you, man? And then
Ain't
you
no
go,
other fighters.
come
No
on,
other
man.
fighters.
Come on, man. And then Tank people don't want him to fight nobody but the people inside his gym. Come on, man. It's just sucking the life out of the sport. I'm so.
How's it sucking the life out of the sport? It's sucking the life out of sport for you. Okay.
Why? That doesn't make it. You're supposed to do business with other businesses that are in the business with you.
No, you're not. You're supposed to do business on your business.
Okay, man. Okay,
the money makes
great,
sense.
Great.
That's why you only had 3 times where 2 networks have worked together to do business. It's not something that's common. Y'all get these ideas in your head that's not nowhere near reality, has no empirical evidence to back it up, no numbers to back it up. Y'all just get these narratives in your head. Some fantasy world that y'all live in. I don't understand it when you had the numbers and the facts right there in front of you.
Ray was signed to the same people. Simon Brown and Tyrone Trice was signed to the same people. Nicholas Walters and and Donaire were signed to the same people. I'm guessing Ward and Gotti were signed to the same people. I'm guessing Tony Tony and and Mike McCollum was saying to the
I
same
said
people.
networks.
I can keep going. I can keep going.
Networks. When you have
But
exclusive
I
network
can
deals,
keep going.
what
I
Showtime
can
gave
keep
to Don
going.
King was the first one when he brought Tyson over. That's what changed the game. That's why you only had 3 times
Absolutely
where
not.
2 networks have
Absolutely
worked
not.
together to make a
Absolutely
fight.
not. Absolutely not.
What's the other 3 times? You had Tyson and Lewis. You had Floyd and Mayweather, and you had Wilder and Fury. What's
You
another time
talking about
2
networks?
networks
I'm
have come
talking.
together
Are you
to make a
talking
fight?
net freaking works? I'm talking about fighters have always fought because they've always have different promoters and all. Take that network and wipe your ass with it.
No. When they all were all HBO, yes. But you have to understand this is how boxing is nowadays.
HBO don't exist no more, so don't bring it up.
They don't exist no more because of mistakes that they made and they couldn't get with the time.
Yeah,
And now since they left, more money has been
I don't
coming
know
into
what
boxing.
mistakes they made because I've never run a network.
Okay.
And neither of you.
I pay attention.
Yeah, okay, obviously, but you've never run a network.
I run a business. I know how to make money.
Have you
I ain't
ever
had a
run
job in
network?
years. I'm not retired, so I know how to make money. So I'm okay.
Have you ever run a network?
Hey, what are we talking about?
I've run promotions. I run promotions at a bar.
You run your mouth.
I know how to make money. I know how to make money. I know how to make something out of nothing.
We're all grown men. We all know how to make money.
No, I know how to make money. I tell you this, I ain't punched the clock in years. I know how to make money. My bills are paid every month.
Uncle Sam is a clock we all punch. Now answer the brother's question.
I know how to make money. I'm a business mind. I'm a thinker.
What was the question?
And I don't sell drugs or do anything illegal.
All right,
you sell diarrhea to mouth. Answer the brother's question.
What's the question?
That's the thing.
What's your question, man? You said you had a question. MG, you still there?
I asked, what are we talking about? Like we've been kind of going in the whirlwind.
Exactly. Like
we've been going in the whirlwind.
Like it's going in circles of references. All I wanted to know was the thoughts about this particular fight between Lopez and Kambosos. That's it.
I saw Lopez. He looked a lot better when his interview with on that Facebook interview with my man from around the ATR podcast, Kiran Barucha, whatever his name is. He had his shirt off and he was talking. He didn't look real. He didn't look weight drained.
Okay, so at least he doesn't seem weight drained in this particular sense of so far. So he should be ready to go there in his fight coming up here at the Madison Square Garden Theater over in New York. So you do have that particular fight that's coming up that will be on the zone there, but you also have, like I said, Figueroa versus Stephen Fulton for the unified super bantamweight championships there. And I did kind of like get in on the conference call that happened today, where both Figueroa and Fulton were talking about this upcoming fight, and with Fulton. He says like he isn't, really all too concerned about much there, but the guy that's in the ring with him, that like no one has been able to step in the ring and beat the man. But this is going to be the 4th consecutive fight for Stephen Fulton going up against an undefeated fighter, and of course he's been 3-0 in his previous 3 fights here. So he's going up against Figueroa, who, in a sense, is kind of like thinking about if he's going to stick at 122 pounds after this particular fight, win or lose. I mean, he did talk about potentially saying that he'll move up to 126 pounds, after this particular fight. So if Figueroa wins this fight and becomes a unified champion, it may be you might not have a undisputed champion there at 122 pounds. Of course, you had MJ Akhmadaliev, who holds the other 2 titles there at super bantamweight. That recently had a fight there at on last Friday there against Jose Velasquez. But right now I think all the eyes are basically out there for Figueroa and Fulton to kind of like see who's gonna kind of like be the guy there at 122 pounds, or pretty much stand there as the top guy up 122 pounds. So definitely looking forward to that particular fight there between those two guys, man. Who do y'all think has the advantage in this? Will it be Figueroa with his length or Fulton there that, like I said, has speed and kind of like accuracy there that could give, Figueroa problems? Like who y'all picking in that one?
Oh, now y'all ain't got nothing to say. We got a topic.
I'm waiting on you. No, I'm sending. I was sending Jay a message on Twitter. Go ahead. I'll go last.
Fulton fight out the same camp as Boots, right?
Well, he's been in and out of the same camp. Yeah.
I mean, obviously they got different. They're different, but you can see sort of the same sort of doggedness out of Fulton when he fight that you see when you watch Jaron Ennis. And I try to not like conflate them two, but he put me in the mind of Jaron Ennis, in terms of his like slickness, and I honestly haven't looked at them deep enough to like say the differences, but I will say they put me in the mind of each other. So do I think what's his name's activity with like soft punches will that overtake Fulton, who's going, keep him at the end of the punches and hit him with uppercuts and hooks and everything else?
Mm-hmm.
I think the way he was expecting his come out party a year, however long ago it was, I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be back to business. He might look like his brother in this fight, Figueroa. I mean, I hope it's a good fight, but I hope it's the way where he don't get like deflated, but annihilated. I mean, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna win just based off the
Is
style.
Figueroa the one with the fine sister? Because he's the one with the fine sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want what's
wins.
his name to win because he black too.
Okay, I hope Figueroa wins because I want to see his sister on camera.
Oh, well, I don't know, man. Like Mike said, Brandon Figueroa is almost like kind of like giving them vibes like Omar Figueroa Jr. did, man. It kind of, with him, it is kind of like he might be trying to cut himself down to 122, and this might being a little bit of an issue for him. So maybe he, is going to be barely able to make 122 here coming up on Friday, and then we'll see what he balloons up to on fight night. But I think that cool boy Steph, will be well prepared. And like I said, maybe he's been in the camps there with Boots Cenas and other guys out there in Philadelphia. I think he might have been out there a little bit in Danny Garcia's camp too. So. Yeah, he like he said, he's definitely gonna be ready. You have something, Lefty?
Yeah, I'm going with Brandon Figueroa. I'm going with Figueroa because not Brandon Figueroa, Cool Boy Steph. I'm going to Cool Boy Steph because that Leo fight showed me a lot. How he was able to adjust and beat Leo at his own game, and Angelo Leo at his own game early in that fight too. Because Leo caught him kind of early. I think it was the second round. He kind of caught him, and he switched up his whole game plan and fought more on the inside. And that's what Figueroa, Brandon loves that swarming style. And Cool Boy can fight damn near any style. That boy is the truth. That boy is bad, and he's gonna show it this weekend.
Yeah, that's the thing. Figueroa does like kind of like have that swarming type of style. I don't think he, tries to use his height and reach that much, unless if it's like throwing a lot of punches. It's almost like him being like Leo Santa Cruz in a sense, and trying to keep pressure on his opponents and throw a lot of shots from a distance and things like that. But I think Fulton will be able to make the proper adjustments needed in order to kind of like get himself a larger advantage there against Figueroa, like he did the Angelo Leo fight, where he pretty much like clearly outboxed Angelo Leo and had like a wide decision win in that particular instance. So kind of like seeing the same thing here against Figueroa that Stephen Fulton's going to be able to get that in. You also have
Hey,
there's
Troy.
yo.
No, go ahead. My fault. I was talking. I accidentally hit the button.
Oh, okay. You also have Gary Antonio Russell at the bantamweight. That's the bantamweight Russell and the lightest weight division. There against Alexander Santiago and Rais Salim, also at super bantamweight against Eduardo Baez, where Rais Salim is pretty much knocking on the door to get himself set up for a title shot there at super bantamweight. So maybe after this particular event here at the Park Theater in Las Vegas, we might see Rais Salim in there trying to go after a world title belt. Like, he is interim champion. Well, he's supposed to be the WBA interim champion, but we know what the WBA has been trying to do as far as consolidating belts. So will they have Rais Salim potentially fighting MJ later on down the line? Who knows? But
Doubt
outside
it.
of that,
Doubt it.
yeah.
Doubt it. MJ under that protection plan, a lean too sweet for him.
So, Lee gets through this, man. Like, they're gonna, try to directly get that thing done, man. Because if y'all say, if the WBA claims that they want to consolidate those belts, then that's
they ordered the lean to face somebody when he already had a fight scheduled.
Yeah. So
he loses his spot.
Oh, see.
Yeah, the fix is in, man. I'm telling you, the fix is in. People think they think Black Murderers Row is a fix, even though it's history. They think I'm just making stuff up, crying. Go ahead.
Who said it was a victim's list? Who said it was a victim's list?
I'm just saying, it looked like Black Murderers Row all over again.
Who said it? Where?
That's it. Let me see.
Nobody started Black Murderers Row in this era, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Thank you. You have to start something to say that it exists.
Troy, what you got against black fighters? Let's just get down to it. What you got against black
nothing
fighters?
Because I see one in the mirror every morning.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you the question again because I don't think you heard me. What you got against black fighters?
Again, I see nothing. I see one in the mirror every morning.
Okay. Okay, what you got against black fighters that are not named Troy Graham? What you got against those other black
Absolutely
fighters?
nothing. I just refuse that excuse about. That's why
it's not an excuse. It's a reality. It's a reality. Aleem is another example. What I was just saying, MJ is protected. MJ is so protected. Let me tell you, MJ is so protected. They screwed Danny Roman over MJ. MJ got billionaire money behind him. They're not letting nobody get. They're not letting me get that. They ain't letting nobody get that white boy.
Okay, Spence and Crawford are not happening because they're black.
No. Spence and Crawford is going to happen because they got somebody else.
White and Wilder never happened.
The same way that he didn't want. He didn't want. You have to remember
Wilder and Joshua didn't happen because they were black.
Remember this right here. Remember this. The reason Crawford, it goes back to my theory, he did not get the Pacquiao fight was because he was high risk, low reward, and Arum didn't think that he had that commercial appeal to earn to be worthy of the Pacquiao fight. That's why he sent that boy. He sent that boy to Australia, let a white boy in Australia beat him. He sent that white boy in Australia and let a white boy beat him.
Tevin Farmer and Tank never happened because they were both black.
No, because they were on two different networks.
Jesus Christ.
Hey Troy, we got a question for you. We got a question.
As the Zone never did a co-network deal with anybody, not just don't just name PBC fighters. Had ever did a co-network fight?
We got a question.
And then they end up letting that Mexican beat. Then they end up letting that Mexican beat. Then they end up letting that Mexican beat Tevin. Let me hold on. Wait, MJ. Let me finish because this all goes into that. They let that Mexican beat Tevin. Then they let that Mexican run off with that belt without honoring his rematch clause. Tevin didn't even have to give him that chance without honoring that rematch clause. Now he done worked his way all the way up to 135, and now he about to fight for another belt against Devin. While Tevin got fucked, but I'm just making this all up. When you give them a chance, they're gonna run off on you. Just the same way Fury tried to when Wilder pulled his ass out the crack den and gave him a shot, and once they got one over, he tried to run off. They don't play by the rules like you. You one of them fair type of guys. I'm not a fair guy. I believe in wielding power and wielding it to your advantage ruthlessly, the same way they do.
What was the question,
That's
man?
how they
Please.
get ahead.
What was the question?
All right.
Anyway, Farmer's the perfect example of one that got fucked over.
All right, what's the question, Mike?
All right, this is the question for Troy. This was the question for Troy. Who's the next solid white American fighter, Troy? You seem
I have
be
no
versed in this
idea.
type
I have no idea.
I thought we had one in Caleb Plant, but I guess for some people that don't even
Are you
count.
serious? Are you serious? Okay, come on.
Oh well. Oh boy. But
I don't know if it's breaking news, but they trying to get Eddie Hearn's tired of spending money on Andrade, so he's asked the WBC and the WBL to order Andrade versus Charlo.
Munguia. Or Charlo?
No. Yeah, he's
not gonna happen either.
No, it's not gonna happen. But he's tired of investing in Munguia. They're not gonna force Triple G or Munguia to fight him. That would make too much sense, you know.
Does Triple G have a belt?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. You remember Canelo told him, "I'm not fighting you unless you have a belt." And the only person that had a belt was Andrade and Charlo, and Triple G turned down the Charlo fight. And then miraculously, Canelo got stripped by the IBF, and Derevchenko ended up fighting for the vacant against GGG for less money than was offered to fight Golden Boy, which has been very strange. It was very strange. They did whatever they could to make sure he didn't have to go to Andrade for that belt.
You know it's not a black and white thing or black and Latino thing in boxing. You do know that, right?
Man, please.
No, ain't no please nothing. It really isn't. You know what the real thing is? A lot of fighters just don't want to fight because they don't want to lose that period. Because if that was the case, Spence-Crawford would have fought long ago.
For some reason, Bob couldn't close the deal the same way he couldn't close the deal for Floyd.
And neither did Al.
The same way he couldn't close the deal with Oscar. The same way he couldn't. The same way he couldn't close the deal. The same way he couldn't close the deal with Pacquiao.
Wait, hold on, Troy. Hold on, Troy. Since you couldn't really take the bet, you have to wait on talking about
No. I didn't say I couldn't take the bet. I told him to check back with me in 9 months.
I don't want to.
I mean, in 3
offer
months.
is off the table in 3 months. The offer is now.
Why? Because guess what? The fight ain't gonna be set
I'm confident. I'm confident you can free money. I'm giving you what? 13 months to get $100 up.
You out of your freaking mind. You know that? And that's disrespectful as hell. I don't need 13 months. I'm telling you the fight won't happen. Why am I going to bet on something that won't happen?
Because that's easy money for you. That's easy money. If I had
you sound like you're scared. You sound like you're scared.
That's easy money. That's easy money.
Do you hear what I just said? I said the fight won't happen.
I'm giving you to the end of 22. The fight won't happen at the end of 22.
You're not giving me anything. I'm not the one that's fighting.
Oh, you don't want the money?
The fight won't happen.
Okay, how about this? Can I cash app you $100? And then by the end of 22, if the fight does happen, you send me 200 back. I'll cash app you the 100 right now. And if the fight does happen next year, you send me the 200 back.
I don't know. Troy be on that bullshit. I wouldn't trust that one.
I'm done.
First of all, you don't know me whatsoever, so you cannot judge my character.
I'm not judging your character. I'm just saying you be on that bullshit. It's nothing to do with your character, Troy.
The fight won't happen. It will not happen.
Well, on that subject, you don't not only have $100 that's on the line, you have pretty much $200 that's on the line, because on the live chat, someone else says that he'll put up $100
billion on the line. The fight won't happen. It will not happen.
Okay, well then we're going to check back, folks. We're going to check back within 3 months in reference to that particular thing. But I think what's going to happen before that is that Troy, I guess, will kind of like take advantage of the bet that he got against me when he said that Crawford would stop Shawn Porter. So he'll enjoy that for the time being. But outside of that, we will have to wait for the next bet that will happen on the Boxing Source Radio Show.
What was the bet? Remind me what was the bet?
No, the bet was it's not what was that, a beat sandwich or something. So he wants
It was it's just that I would go to DC, spend $20 on him at what you call it at Ben's Chili Bowl,
Ben's Chili
and
Bowl.
yeah,
So
and
who
if I
won?
lose, then he spent. I did.
Oh,
I
so what you
won.
win?
Jerk at night. I'm just holding it in my back pocket for right now.
Oh, he
So
still owe me. He still owe me like a bottle, but I don't drink no more. So I gotta trade in my
so you gotta trade in your drink voucher, man.
I gotta trade in my drink voucher.
Okay, well, get some Kool-Aid or something.
Hey,
You know,
did y'all like that boy who fought on the Crawford undercard, the co-main who fought in the dime?
Oh, well, people are saying that they didn't like the dude, that he didn't really finish off in Dom, because, folks are like kind of like building him up, with him saying, oh, it's Kazakh style and he's supposed to be like Golovkin, but a little bit better. But, the guy just didn't, Zanabek Alimkhanuly didn't do, I guess, an impressive enough job to kind of like wow a lot of those, people that were looking at him. Actually, overall, that pay-per-view card was, it wasn't all too impressive right there. I mean, the best fight to me outside of the main event was the fight between Isaac Dogbe and Christopher Diaz, man. That was pretty much the most impressive fight of the night outside of the main event.
I'll be honest with y'all, right? There's no fight that should even be on pay-per-view in this era, and no fight big enough in this era not to get made.
So
Because
Canelo versus Plant shouldn't have been on pay-per-view?
big fighters in this era.
Canelo versus Plant shouldn't have been on pay-per-view?
Say that again?
Canelo versus Plant shouldn't have been on pay-per-view?
That should have been on. No, that shouldn't have been on pay-per-view.
So where else is it? Was they gonna get that tens of $1 million they made off that fight? Who's paying for that?
I don't give a damn about that. I'm a fan.
You don't live in reality. You don't live in reality. This is not a charity. This is a business. Fighters have to be paid. Fighters have to be paid. Fighters have to be paid. Yeah, you are. Fighters have to be paid, man. Somebody has to get paid. You demand pay for your labor, right? You demand your fair wage, right? You demand your fair wage. When Troy goes to work, you demand a fair wage, right?
Because I offer something that somebody wants.
Okay, and these guys offer something that only a couple of them in the world, of them in the world are able to do. That's why athletes get paid so much. Because if me and you could do it, Troy, the sport wouldn't be shit. We can't do it. These are special. These are athletes. That's why athletes get paid so much. Only few can do it.
Okay, name the pay-per-view boxers of the
only
day.
few can do it. I mean, dog, they just made tens of millions of dollars on that fight. So obviously, the fight should have been on pay-per-view. They just made tens of millions on the fight. The fight made a profit. This is a business. This isn't a charity to make Troy happy.
You can still make money without pay-per-view.
No, but you want to maximize your revenue because you want to maximize your revenue as a fighter. Number one,
okay.
The same way you should want to maximize your revenue every day you wake up.
Please, there are no pay-per-view fighters in this era.
Hey Troy, I actually got a comment that I quasi agree with you on. I can't agree with you fully because I got to go against you, but I had to take a step back.
Fight for free.
No. I get the money side. Let me just say my point. So let me say my point. So maybe it was last week, but then when we said should the Spence and whatever blah 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 be on pay-per-view, and I said no, I don't think it should be on pay-per-view. But then I said and I asked myself, at what point is this at that point in time let's say Showtime and HBO fighters, they were fighting on those, network televisions. But at what point did they turn into pay-per-view stars? And it was when they started making these millions of dollars where they got to pay them. And I think I got to change my frame of mindset because I still think a Keith Thurman and a Danny Garcia fight shouldn't be on pay-per-view. But I think the times have changed to where in order to pay them, it kind of got to be on pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Fighters not even making more. Sugar Ray Leonard was making $2 million in the early 80s, which is about what, $8 million, $10 million today to fight on network TV. The networks aren't paying as much as they are today as they were back then. That's why you have to have pay-per-views to subsidize the show.
You want to know why? Because the fighters are not being marketed, and I don't understand.
No, man.
Yes,
you want to know? No, that is not why. The reason why is because Murad Muhammad was the first one to go to HBO because HBO. Okay, see, now he don't want to understand. He got these things made up in his head.
I already know this story. I don't need it repeated.
Then why are you saying because it's not fighters are marketed? No, it's because premium cable started paying more than the network TV. So they instituted pay-per-view in order to pay the fighters even more than that. But these fighters nowadays not even getting paid more than fucking Sugar Ray Leonard was.
Baseball has a
to fight Tuna. Sugar Ray Leonard was getting paid $2 million back in the early 80s to fight Tuna, which is like $8-9 million today. If Sugar Ray Leonard was fighting today, y'all would be complaining too. That's one thing about boxing fans. They gonna complain while they sit on their wallet. That's why you have to appeal to the casual fans, because boxing fans are complainers and cheap, and the sport would be dead if we only focus on boxing fans. The sport would be dead. I'm so happy for casual fans that actually pay money for the fights.
Can you stop for a second, please? Listen to me very carefully. Baseball has a farming league, right? Football has college. Back in the day, boxing had fights on TV. That's how the people got to know the fighters. And they always told the backstory of the fighter first. And that's how people got to know the fighter. And then they would put together fights that nowadays would be on so-called pay-per-view, like Simon Brown versus Tyrone Trice would be on pay-per-view.
Because there was no pay-per-view infrastructure, and even those fights like that were still on closed circuit, which is the closest thing. Man, you don't even know the history of the sport. You don't even know, bro, I'm serious. You do not understand the history of the business of the sport.
Don't talk to me about history.
Because we live in a fantasy world. I'm done with the conversation, my guy.
I'm telling you, this is how it works.
World. You don't know the history of the sport. You don't even know, bro, they used to sell.
I know the history of the sport.
You didn't see them live? They used to cost more than what a pay-per-view costs today with inflation. Bro, it's always been about money from day one. They used to sell Jack Johnson tapes. Come on, man. You don't even know the history of the sport.
Like, this could pretty much, that back and forth could pretty much go on forever.
This dude is a brick wall. He's right about everything. I mean, you don't know what I don't know, but you keep telling me what I don't know. So how do you know what I don't know if all you do is tell me what I don't know? Try and repeat that 3 times, Bama.
Try, I be questioning what you know sometimes too.
God, man. I'm simply telling you that if the people don't know the fighters, why the hell are they gonna pay $80 to watch Charlo fight? Who? Huh?
But
nobody knows these people.
But the thing about
when
it
have we ever had when have we ever had twins in boxing that were champions at the same time? And you telling me you can't market them? I don't want to hear that nonsense. It ain't about black and white.
They've been champions for a while, though. That's the thing about it. But
I don't want to hear about black and white in this situation.
In this particular market, the whole thing with them being on a network, whether it's Showtime or pay-per-view, if their guarantees are getting to the point where you need to be on pay-per-view, then that's what's going to happen.
But if okay, listen. The reason why the Logans could come in here and do that, because they actually started off as nothing and nobody's doing crazy, stupid, ignorant stuff, and their little fans got to know them. They got to know them, and then they followed them. You see what I'm saying? It all starts with getting to know them.
All right. So you don't think that's still happening now? What do you think is happening with Tank Davis?
No, nobody knows these friggin' people. Nobody.
Wait, so nobody knows Tank?
Oh my God! There's exceptions to the rules, but overall, no. Okay, like a Simon Brown, nobody know who he was today, but yesterday he was marketed right, and people knew who he was, and he worked his way up. I'm gonna end up losing my damn voice eventually. It all starts with knowing them from every level. Why aren't the Charlos household names? They're freaking
Because
championship
they black.
twins. Why are they house? Man, okay. Jesus Christ Almighty. Oh, oh my God. You know what? Just last Saturday, I talked to somebody. I asked them a question about start because I'm working on starting. Not me by myself, obviously. I'm working on starting, a national boxing commission in the union. And it went to black and white, black and white. Has nothing to do with black and white. It's a national commission in the union for all of boxing. And you know what that son of a bitch said to me on his way out of the podcast? It was I had dropped off, but I caught his last comment. He said, "Troy, I'm not telling you it's impossible and it can't get done, but it's impossible and it can't get done." And this dude and a trainer, I wouldn't allow him to train my dog after hearing that comment. Because if he's that weak, how he gonna train anybody to accomplish greatness when he can't see past his own doubts? Let me tell you something. Yes, please. That's the freaking question.
In most every other union in the United States, white and whatever else you name.
Oh my God, here we go.
Answer the question, like real shit. Aren't most unions predominantly white?
I don't care. How about that? I don't care. I don't care.
I was gonna give you more points, but since you don't care,
do you know why I want to start a commission? Do you know why I believe, and we believe, it's not just me, that boxing needs a commission in the union?
Please tell us, Troy.
Have you ever seen anybody die in the friggin' ring, and then they turn around and boxing has nothing to help them? You want to go ahead and tell that mother and that father, well, most unions are white. Is that your friggin' answer for everything? Well, that's not mine. Because it don't matter. Death don't have no color. Pain don't have no color. Boxing doesn't have a color. It has people. There might be some color instances in there, but we talking about human people. People. You see what I'm saying? And that's what drives me. Call me crazy. I love the damn thing. I'm addicted to it. I want it to be better. Stop telling me about black and white and black, Latino. I don't care. I friggin' don't care. And before I die, I'm gonna there will be a commission and a union before I die. As long as I don't die tomorrow. And even if I die tomorrow, someone is set up where other people could take up the mantle and run with it. Listen to me. You and I wouldn't be on here. All of us wouldn't be on here if somebody didn't run away, man. If somebody didn't die, and then somebody died after that, and then others lived. Don't tell me what can't get done. Tell me why it will get done, and I will listen to you. Put a gun to my head, tell me you're gonna kill me. I'll say, well, go ahead and do it. But if I survive, you know what I'm gonna tell you? I'm gonna tell you why I survived. Because you suck at shooting. That's why. And I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm not that guy where I want to hear can't all the friggin' time. I will not, no. Bury me, burn me, do whatever you have to do. I will just keep going until I got nothing left. And I mean that with everything in me. Black and white, it can't get done. And aren't all unions white? And what does that mean? All my teeth are white too, so I guess I should hate them. Give me a break, man.
You say you live in New York? Go outside your hoodie. Well, I guess people normally do that, but
I live in Baltimore, Maryland.
Good one. Go outside of your hoodie right now.
I'm from New York.
Tell me. Let me stop messing with you, Troy.
Yeah, please do, because it's a waste of your friggin' time.
Oh boy. But
I would apologize to you like I do everybody else panel that I go on. But this is what I run into. A bunch of these dudes that say can't, But then you ask them, why can't it? Give me a reason of can, and they can't give you a valid reason for can. You see what I'm saying? Either you love it or you don't love it. It's boxing, baby. You either love it or you don't love it. Don't tell me about I don't know history and all that. I don't listen. I don't care about your knowledge in history because I know that I've read about it and I know that I've sat with greater people than you will ever meet, that trained greater people than you would ever meet, who were trained by greater than people who you will ever meet. And that's who taught me. The Archie Moores of the world, the Tommy Brooks of the world, the Pepe Carreras of the world. They all inspired me. Eddie Fudge, all of them. I've had the pleasure of meeting most of the people I just named. Have you? So don't tell me can't. And take your history and wipe your ass with it. Because I have real history that I learned from.
Well, I guess that's what Troy leaves his point at, in this particular instance. But I mean, hey, we'll have to see like how all this stuff turns out as far as like his program and everything like that. So y'all be sure to like follow him, reference to the union that he's trying to build and all that. But what do with Lefty, man? Lefty does know a lot. I will say that Lefty does definitely know a lot. So, while it might seem like he doesn't know stuff, no, he does. So I can guarantee you that. But on that note, man, this is about in this live session, this is like almost at 2 a.m. Eastern time, and I got to turn around and do something in the morning. So I definitely have to get off of this right here. Thanks for everyone that joined in the live session here. We'll get back in the regular schedule here. So the next podcast will be on Sunday, November 28th. That will be the next live session there. But thanks for everybody that was tuning in. Be sure to, of course, follow the social media channels through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube channel. And like I said at the end of every show, folks, point of boxing is to hit, not get hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.